He spent 4 years as News of the World editor, but Andy Coulson has always denied that he knew anything about phone hacking. Today he'll be asked again by police if he knew or was involved in listening to private messages.
I don't suppose that Andy Coulson will be charged immediately. The police will want to see what he has to say and will want to consider anything he can tell them, in particular about Rebekah Brooks, before they send a dossier to the Crown Prosecution Service and before a decision is taken as to whether Andy Coulson or Rebekah Brooks or other people are going to be charged, and if so, with what.
Labour leader Ed Miliband will use his speech today to step up the pressure on the Prime Minister over his friendship with Andy Coulson, who resigned as his official spokesman in January. He'll say, "We all now must exercise our duty to stand up for the public, without fear and without favour. I know this is difficult for the Prime Minister because of his personal relationships and because these are very powerful forces. But there are moments in our national life when the public looks to political leaders, not just to express sentiment, but to accept the responsibility for leading the call for change. This is such a moment," he said. News International's chief executive Rebekah Brooks left in a hurry last night after the news of the paper's demise was announced. But unlike hundreds of staff, she looks like keeping her job.
There was bewilderment, there was disappointment, but there wasn't any kind of mob anger. It's quite the contrary. There was a lot of quiet pride from a team of brilliant journalists, award-winning journalists, who are very proud of the product and very proud of the 168-year history of the News of the World.
James Murdoch left News International last night after sacrificing the News of the World, but he stood by Rebekah Brooks.
I am satisfied that Rebekah, her leadership of this business, and her standard of ethics and her standard of conduct throughout her career are very good.
If it was their own story, they'd probably call it sensational, but today's papers reflect the fall of the News of the World after 168 years.
We were sickened to the core by the revelations that came out about Millie Dowler and the troops and the 7/7 victims, and now, like them, we've been caught up in this awful mess created by people who worked for our paper many years ago.
The Prime Minister's association with Andy Coulson could now prove critical. Downing Street will be hoping the former newspaper editor's story stands up to further scrutiny today. Nick Martin, Sky News.